Thank you so much for joining us, Sunny. And we're so excited when I read about you, while we were looking for women to profile in our calendar, I read your story and I was just blown away in so many ways by your background of growing up in the South and then just seeing the Olympics and saying someday I want to do that, and then to rebounding and going from gymnastics to breakdancing. Breakdancing is something that I'm really interested in because it combines two of my loves, which is music and sport. And so, anyway, we are very grateful that you're joining us today to share a little bit about your story. And we love the artwork that Farley created with you. But we'd first love to just hear what inspires you. What inspired you as a little kid when you saw gymnastics on in the Olympics? How did that come about to now I want to do that?
Uh, so I started gymnastics when I was 3, so the 92 games. And obviously at that point I don't remember what I was thinking, but apparently I bothered my mom for like an entire month to put me into gymnastics because I was hooked on the fact that I wanted to win a gold medal at the Olympics. Very specific child. Um, and then I actually remember watching the 96 games, and that was the what did they call that team? Was it the Magnificent Seven
Yeah,
or
I
the
think it was
right?
because I was obsessed with them as well. Yeah, Dominic Paz, Dominic
Yeah,
Luciano. Yes.
that team. So I watched that team kind of, I followed their journey and connected with some of those gymnasts and like really, really looked up to them and like all the hard work that they were putting in. Um, so that really excited me to kind of like continue on doing this whole crazy potential Olympic path, which, ended up turning out that it didn't work out for me as a gymnast. And, lo and behold, like 20 years later, I'm getting the opportunity again. So, I feel really grateful for that. But yeah, I don't know. I think one of the most inspiring things is just seeing the passion that the athletes have for what they do. And to be honest, sometimes I feel like it doesn't even make sense. Like, why are we trying to do this one skill perfectly so that someone can judge us on it based off of their perception of it? And and it's like, but something about passion doesn't always make sense, but it's in all of us. And so I think, seeing that and resonating with it very young and being like, this is amazing, like to have purpose like this, and wanting that for me. So yeah.
And how did you, I mean, that must have been very difficult to have an injury and then no longer be able to do the sport you had set out to do. It's incredible how you pivoted and rebounded. Can you share a little bit about that process?
Yeah. So when I injured myself in high school, I had already signed with Penn Gymnastics. Um, and I was supposed to be going there. At that point, though, in my kind of like life, I had already pretty much burnt out of gymnastics. We knew Olympics wasn't going to happen. I knew I was kind of going through some major life changes, going to college, moving away, all of that. And so, and I'd also kind of like the life of an athlete from a very young age is just so different. So I had not had a normal childhood. And so I'm getting to this age where I'm starting to explore and I'm driving and I'm able to go out. And I'm like, well, I don't want to spend 25 hours plus, in the gym every single week and then go to school and do nothing else. So I think I was at that age where I just wanted to like get out of it and do something new and try something. So while it was really, really difficult to give up something that I had been doing my whole entire life, it's basically all I knew. I was also, sorry, at the same time, like excited for what was to come. So, I get to college, just like going and doing my thing. I know I need to be active because I've been active my whole life, but I hated the treadmill. And actually, Penn has a pretty nice gym, but I hated going to the gym. And so I was trying different things, nothing was working. And I saw some breaking outside, and I was like, well, that looks like pretty cool. And they invited me to take a class, and I did. And then I kind of just like went on my way and, started something brand new. It was pretty hard at first, but there's part of me that just is like, I want to figure this out. Like, this is really exciting. And there's something that's like really, really drawing me in.
I
So I
love
just,
your story of like pivoting. It's something we talk to women about, not only in their personal life, but in their careers. And what I love most is what you learn about yourself or rediscover when you
Mhm.
pivot. And
Yeah.
so, what have you learned about yourself or rediscovered through breakdancing?
So many things. Well, 100% wouldn't be the same person that I am today without breaking, but I think a lot of the growth, a lot of the kind of self-discovery, all of that actually was kickstarted by breaking. I would say one of the kind of really big hurdles that I had to kind of overcome and work through on this journey to the Olympics was um, I actually, so when they first announced that the Olympics was going to happen for breaking, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. And that was like hint number one, something was wrong. Because it's like, this is a childhood dream. What's up with me? I'm getting a second chance. Who gets a second chance 20 years later? Not that many people, and in a completely different sport. So, I kind of was like, what's going on? Why am I doing this? And I realized, I had given myself all these like reasons, legitimate sounding reasons, right? Like, what if I want to have a family? What if I want to buy a house? What if I don't want to quit my job? Like all of these reasons that like sound like real reasons, but I was like, why really am I saying no to this? And I realized it was just like a really, really deep rooted fear of failure. And not making the Olympics is like a very public failure, because it's like now with social media being everybody's job, that's an athlete. So you put everything out there, and if you don't make it, everyone's going to see that. And I was like, am I okay with failing, one, for myself, and then two, also publicly? And can I get over that fear to do something that I wanted to do my whole entire life? And so I think that's like one example of like one of the many things I've had to really work through personally, because of breaking. And like, honestly, I feel like I made the right choice and I'm happier than I've ever been. But that was really, really rough to realize like my entire life had actually been dictated by more of the fear of failure than it was by kind of like making like on the outside, like everything was tied up with a pretty bow. It's like I did everything right, but all of those right decisions were actually driven by me just being scared to fail, doing what I truly wanted to be doing. So,
One of the other things I love about your story in particular is about how you say stay authentic to yourself. And breaking is, it's a very unique sport, and it's it is about expressing yourself in your dance and in response in the battle, but it's also there are expectations of what that looks like.
hmm.
And can you talk a little bit more about that and how you found your authentic voice in that process?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you can already tell I'm pretty bubbly and I smile a lot. And ever since I started, like, when I very first started breaking, and actually for many, many years afterward, I was constantly told, like, you should stop smiling. Like, you need to go out there and like tear their heads off, not smile their heads off. That doesn't work that way, right? And so I always just felt like that doesn't feel quite right. Like I can't even erase a smile off my face even if I wanted. Most of the time I'm out there and it just happens. A lot of the times it's just because I'm happy to be dancing. Sometimes, yeah, it's like a facade that I put on because of other things going on behind the scenes that maybe I'm not comfortable sharing yet. Whatever it is, it's there. I wasn't able to kind of like put that aside. And so I was like, you know what? I feel like this dance is really about expressing who you are in the moment. And there are people who are channeling like a piece of themselves out there that is a bit more aggressive, that is a bit more confident. So much of me is just so like happy, bubbly, that I was like, I don't have that in me. Like, I can't even find that in me in the battle to do that. And so I kind of just kept doing what I was doing. and it was like, well, take it or leave it. And then I just kept winning and doing things and traveling, and like it worked out for me. And yeah, I mean, today now it's like become my signature, and people talk about how much they love my smile, actually, rather than telling me to stop anymore. Which is interesting because it's like sometimes it's the same people actually who are like, "Yeah, it's fine now. It works for
You
you."
won them over. I get it. I'm a smiler, and it does bother people sometimes. Why are you so happy? Or why? It's like, I don't know. It's just who I am.
Well, what I hear sometimes now is when I'm smiling, it's like it's almost disarming when I'm competing against some people who don't like it. They're like, it's like I know something they don't know, or it's just like this is so easy, like I don't even have to think about it. I'm just gonna smile my way through it. So yeah, there's all sorts of ways.
One of the reasons we chose to focus on the Olympics for our calendar theme this year is because of the significance of what it's supposed to achieve, gender parity between male and female athletes. Um, Funny enough, the Summer Games in Paris in 1900 was the first time women were allowed to compete in the modern Olympics. And we're back there. It took 124 years to get there, but hey, we're here. And Mary and I were together and we followed the last Olympics during the pandemic. And
Mhm.
I think they said that if you totaled the number of medals that women received, it would be like a fourth country. So obviously, women are not just making an appearance in the Olympics, they are the Olympians, they are the champions, they're winning. And so breaking is debuting, which is really special. It's the only sport, I believe, to debut this go round. What does that mean for you to debut as an Olympian? And what do you want the world to know about breaking?
Loaded questions. What does it mean to debut my sport as an Olympian? It's not just a sport, actually. There's so much more to it than the sport aspect that people will see. And I actually think that's what I want people to know about breaking. It's so deeply rooted in community and in culture. There's so much more to it than the competition. Um, and I think that that's really important about breaking. And I don't think you can fully separate breaking, the competition, away from everything else. You can't have one without the other. And sure, at the Olympics, it's going to be probably about as distilled as it gets in terms of like kind of removing it from the culture, but you still have music that's played by a DJ and we don't pick it. And so we're freestyling to that music. There's still this like form of self-expression. We're still battling each other. Luckily, it's not a showcase, so there's still conversation happening between two people on the stage. And so even while they're taking out a lot of what we normally have, where we'll have like a crowd of people and everyone's just like getting hype and whatever they're doing in that moment, and it's like about sharing energy, there's still some energy on that stage. So you still get to see some back and forth. And then obviously behind the scenes, we're all friends, we're all hanging out, there's that kind of stuff happening. But I think that that's something that's like really important and a message that I like to get across. It's really about kind of how beautiful the breaking community is. I think one of the special things about breaking is that because there's not a huge like financial barrier to access. You just need some music and some floor. It doesn't even need to be smooth. You can make it work wherever you are and you can break. And you're going to find breakers online anywhere, everywhere, all around the world. And you can share in something that you don't even need to talk about. So language doesn't even create like a barrier between different people from different places. So it's just this like really, really diverse space. And I feel like it makes breaking so different from other sports where you have to pay in or pay a coach or go to special training centers and stuff like that. Yes, for the Olympics, like there is a level of training that maybe isn't accessible to everyone, but breaking in general can be accessible to people of like all abilities and just um yeah, it just makes it really, really special for me. So
I love that, particularly being a kid from Queens who grew up probably taking for granted the fact that I saw breaking everywhere around me. I'm from South Jamaica, Queens. So when I rode the train, when I walked in the city, and so it's going to be a delight from a cultural perspective. You're on mute.
All right, just logistically, where are the breakdance battles in Paris? Like I know that Paris has a lot of different locations where the
Um,
events are.
it'll be at Place de la Concorde. So it's with I think they're calling it like an urban sports park or something like that. So I think breaking will be there. I believe skate, and some other sports altogether.
And what part of the Olympics with timing?
I think breaking is August 8th and 9th.
Okay. I want to make sure people are there and we are watching.
Yeah, I believe
um,
the women compete on the 8th and then the men will compete on August 9th.
awesome. So this is Women's History Month, and thinking about people who inspire us. Who inspires you?
She's not a historical figure, but my mom.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a historical
Uh,
figure. Anybody.
yeah, my mom, 100%. She's like my answer for all of these things. She's amazing, just so kind and caring. I think I get a lot of my antics, my personality so much from her, my outlook on life. Um, she's an amazing woman. I wish everybody in the world could meet her. She will feed you so much food if you meet her.
That's
To her
awesome.
language. But yeah, just such a strong, beautiful woman. I feel very lucky to have her as my mom, and she's even been supportive of my very non-traditional path, which especially for, Asians, I think can be challenging, and she's been really kind of open-minded and actually like truly embraced this path for me. So yeah, I just feel really grateful.
And did I read it correctly that they came to the US for education
Yeah,
to
both my
pursue?
parents actually came over. Well, I think my dad originally came over for a PhD, and then he like weaseled my mom into the PhD program as well.
Oh, love it.
Extremely smart, but she would not have gone for a PhD on her own. But it worked out financially that it was better for her to do that than to not have a job in the US because she didn't come over with one. So yeah.
And what did they pursue? What did they get their PhDs in?
My dad has a PhD in polymer engineering, and my mom has a PhD in math.
Wow. Those are so difficult.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to be bad at math. I'm still like really fast with numbers.
That's awesome. That's you can quickly add up the numbers of the scoring systems and know the probability of you winning,
Yeah,
probably.
I think it was my mom went into labor while she was teaching the statistics class, actually.
Sort of
um,
piggyback on Farley's question in terms of like you being in Paris, I obviously like your main inspiration and culture inspiration is New York City, but Paris has a really cool culture too. And they have a burgeoning hip hop culture. Do you think you'll have time to explore and pick up some inspiration from like just the international culture there?
I've actually been to Paris many times to dance and well, whenever I'm visiting, I'm usually dancing. So yeah, to break and like share there. They do have a really good break scene there. And just kind of in general, like their art scene is really cool. So I do plan to stay a few days after. I feel like leading up to the Olympics is going to be like really focused, but
Mm.
afterward, I'm hoping I can spend another few days other stuff. For some reason, I've gone, and every single time I've gone, I've never made it out to a museum, so that's like still on my list to do.
Oh, definitely. It's one of my favorite cities.
it
I love-
is my favorite city. I lived there and it's my absolute favorite.
It is a beautiful place, so I'm looking forward to it for sure.
um, my last question, and I don't know if Tiffany or Farley has any other questions, but um, how can we best support you? And also, do you know how they choose who gets to hold the torch? I want you to hold the torch.
The I have the torch. I have
What?
no idea on the torch. I know the flag bearers get nominated, but the torch, I have no clue. Although
Okay,
that would be
I'm gonna speak out to whoever I can to get you to hold the torch.
maybe that will be my request. That would be amazing. I have no idea how that happens though.
But how can we as a community support you in your goals and in just through, up and coming to the Olympics and after?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't think I've ever been asked that by somebody in an interview like this. Um, I have always been somebody that's so like hyper independent and feeling like I don't need anyone's help. And this journey has actually taught me that that is not the case. And now I have this beautiful team of people around me supporting me, and it's been such an amazing journey. So, I mean, actually, it would be just like if you feel it in the moment, reach out, shoot me a DM, say hi, whatever you want. Words of encouragement, share something. I don't know. Just like, let's be fun. I realized I'm realizing on this journey how important the connections are, that you make along the way, and that you can depend on other people, and that you can trust other people to be there for you, and you don't need to always do it alone. So, yeah, it's always just nice to hear from people.
I think that's a beautiful question to end on. Thank you so much, Sunny. You've inspired us, but you'll also drop a lot of gems here. The other night, I was talking to my son about the importance of overcoming our fears. And so I think it was a little angelic message that you gave to reinforce that. And I'll tell him when I see him because he loves breaking as well.
Oh,
Um, and I think, this is going to be a really wonderful message to play for our community. So
oh,
thank you again.
thank you. And the artwork is so adorable, Farley. I just wanted to say, I feel like it really sums up this like bubbly, fun me, but has a little bit of like the kind of street vibe. So yeah, I really liked it.
I'm really glad that you like it. Feel free to use it in any way that you would like to.
Thank you.